Hola amigos, ¿cómo están? Hi friends and welcome back to the Language Tutor Spanish series. Got an interesting lesson for you today. This is another viewer request. I'm trying to get as many of those viewer requests in as I can. I definitely want to keep helping you out as much as I can. So this is another viewer request today. But first, before we get into the lesson, I just want to stop. Speaking of viewers, I want to stop and say a very heartfelt gracias to all of you that have been donating to the Language Tutor. I tell you, I'm just heartfelt. I'm blown away, and I'm thankful. And I just really want to say how much I appreciate you. I want to mention a couple of people. There's Patty Curry, Urvi Mehta. We got Andrew McClellan, Grace Avotri, Sui Rong Ru, and so many others. I can't even name them all. But thank you so much for the donations. And we even have people doing monthly donations. We appreciate every one of you. And you know, people ask me, how do I donate to the channel? Well, you just click About right here on the channel, and you'll see a link, Donate to Channel there after you click About. So it's pretty easy to do that. Go straight to us, and we appreciate it. And hey, maybe you can pick up a Language Tutor shirt or a coffee cup. That money helps support us as well. All right? But muchísimas gracias a todos ustedes. And hey, if you haven't done so, click the notification bell and subscribe to our channel. That way you won't miss any of the great content that is still yet to come right here on the Language Tutor. All right, my friends, I hope you're ready because it's time to jump in. And today's lesson is all about diminutives and augmentatives. All right, so let's start with diminutives. Now, these are things that we don't really do as much in English, and we do have a few ways that we do these, but let's start with the word diminutive. What does that really mean? It's related in English to the word diminish. And you know, if you think, what does diminish mean? It means to reduce or decline or make smaller. If you're a music brain like me, diminished chord, if you think about a diminished chord, you take a major chord and the third and the fifth note of the scale, you flat 1/2 step and make them flat. So you bring those down. So that's what a diminished chord, if you're thinking about music. So diminutives in Spanish are words that tend to make things smaller and not necessarily physically, but more of a mental way. All right. This is kind of an affectionate way of referring to somebody. It's like when you have the word coche, which means car, but then when you change it to a diminutive, it becomes, a cute little car. Or you see a little boy, his name is Tim, and you say, oh, it's little Timmy. We're adding that Timmy, the Y at the end, to show affection to that person. And it kind of makes them seem smaller, but cuter, things like that. That's really what a diminutive does. It just sort of brings things down to a cute level. All right. So that's what we're going to talk about first. Now, there are a few different ways to make diminutives in Spanish. These not only done to nouns, they can be done to other types of other parts of speech as well. So I'm going to go over diminutives, and I want to break them up into different groups, okay? Now, these really are more common in Spanish than they are in English, and I do want to say that it depends on where you are, okay? Any language in the world has different dialects and different aspects to the language. Our English is different from Australian and New Zealand and British English, same thing. So learn the basics, pick up the dialectical issues once you get into a particular country. Let's start with the first way to do a diminutive. Now, first of all, I want to talk about words that end with O or end with the letter A, okay? Now, with these are the most common types of diminutives in Spanish. With words that end with an O or an A, we're going to drop the O, or we're going to drop the A, and we're going to add this right here. Ito or ita, okay? And that kind of makes and into a smaller, more affectionate version of that, okay? Let's look at this word right here, oso, bear, an animal. If we call it an osito, it becomes a little bear, a cub, all right? Let's look at one more with that. Casa, the word house, drop the A, put ita with an A at the end because it's feminine. And now we have casita. And you might use this to say, I just bought a cute little house in the country. That's an example of a diminutive, all right? Now, let's go into another category of diminutive, and that is words that don't end with O or A. Okay, we're going to kind of put several of those together really quick. Now, these are the ones that we're really going to have different categories in, okay? I'm going to take them step by step. But we'll start very general. Okay, let's look at three words here. Coche, amor, and nube. Okay, car, love, and cloud. All right, now, with these kinds of words, they end with E, N, R, I, or U. Okay, I'll say those again. The letter E, N, R, I, or U. With those types of words, we're typically going to add cito or cita, C-I-T-O, or C-I-T-A, if it's feminine. So these words now become cochecito. Oh, he bought himself a cute little car. Amor becomes amorcito. And nube becomes nubecita. It's a little cloud going by, right? All right, now let's go into the next group. Now we're talking about words that end in consonants other than N or R. Okay, consonants not N or R. Let's put up this word, reloj, which means clock. A reloj ends in a consonant. It's not an N or an R. For these words, we're going to typically revert to the most common way we talked about a while ago, which is ito or ita. So in this case, a little clock would be relojito, relojito. All right? Now let's move into another group. Words with C in the word at the point where we change the word to the diminutive, okay? We're kind of referring to that area of the word. If it's a C, we're going to change that into a QU because we know that C cannot sound like K. So we have to change it to Q, which makes the K sound, and we also know that Q can never function in Spanish without the U. So we're going to change that C to a U. Now here we go. We got the word chica, chica. Let's change it into a diminutive. We're going to add ita to it, but that C has to turn into a QU. Chiquita. All right, chiquita. There we go. We got to use that QU to make that sound. All right, let's go into our next group. Z nouns. All right, we have a bunch of Spanish nouns that end in Z. All right, let's take this one, lápiz. We know the word lápiz. Now, if we're going to turn this into a diminutive, little pencil, then we're going to change that Z to a C, just like we do if we're making this plural. So this becomes lapicito. Now, I want you to notice that the accent goes away here because now we have lapicito, 4-syllable words. The accent is no longer necessary. All right, when it was a 2-syllable word, we say lápiz, and it was necessary to tell us which syllable to stress. But now, lapicito, we don't need it. It's 4 syllables. We revert to that rule. And so take away the accent. All right, so that's what we do with the Z word category. Let's move to the next category, which is the G words. Words that have G at the point of change. We're going to change it to GU. Now, we've seen this before in previous lessons. Let's take the word, one of my favorite words, amigo. All right? I always say, hola, amigos. You guys are the language tutor amigos, my amigos. All right, if we're going to change this to a more affectionate form, diminutive, we're going to take that O off, And we're to make sure we leave the G there, but we also got to put a U. So this is what we get. Amiguito, amiguito. All right. Now let's do another type of diminutive, and this is sort of an other category. I'm just going to throw this at you because it just comes up sometimes. Illo. You're also going to see illo, I-L-L-O. And here is an example. If we have bolso, we'd change this to bolsillo. Bolsillo. Okay, so you're going to just see illo sometimes. I do want to mention, a while ago I said different countries do things different ways. All right, I want to show you this one because my Costa Rican friends will appreciate this. They like to use ico sometimes instead. They like to say words and put ico on it to make a diminutive. And you'll also see a few other countries that do that as well. All right, now let's talk about one more diminutive you might see, and this one is not quite as common, but it's this one, in, I-N with an accent on the I. And this one is used in certain cases. I'm going to give you one of those right now. A flauta is a flute in Spanish, but the smaller version of it is this, flautín, flautín, accent on the I. And that's a piccolo, because a piccolo is a small flute, right? All right, amigos, that is all I'm going to cover with diminutives right now. I don't want to throw too much at you at once. Feel free to look up some more if you want to go a little deeper, but we've pretty much covered most of the diminutives right now. All right, now let's talk about augmentatives. All right, now, what does augment mean? Add to. Diminish meant take away or reduce down. Well, augment means to add to, enhance. Okay, if you, again, music people, what's an augmented chord? If you play an augmented chord, you take the 5th degree of the scale and you sharp it 1/2 step so that you augment it by raising it up. Okay, so the same thing here. Now we're going to make words bigger in our minds, okay? In sort of the context of how we're using them. All right, and again, I'm just going to give you several different types here. The first one is this one, which is on, O-N with an accent on the O, and ona if it were something feminine. I'll give you an example here. A silla is a chair, but a big chair, a really big chair, is a sillón. Sillón. Put that accent on the O. That's a big chair, all right? So you might see on and ona sometimes. Next one I want to give you is acho and acha. All right, now let's take the example of the word. I've seen a lot of sites use this example with this one. Éxito, éxito, E-X-I-T-O, accent on the E. That means success. I could say the show was a big success. Okay, I can put aso at the end and I get this, exitazo, exitazo. Accent goes away now, exitazo. Again, 4 syllables. 4-syllable rule comes into play there, exitazo. It was a big success. Here's one, hotel. You know the word hotel? You can turn it into hotelazo, hotelazo. It's a big, grand, luxurious hotel, all right? Let's go to the next one, is ote and ota. I want to go ahead and tell you that this one is usually used in a negative context. So you want to be careful about how you use this one, all right? Because this one does have a little bit of negativity to it, all right? Here's an example, though. Animal, animalote. It was just a big, dirty animal. All right, it doesn't really have a nice context to it. So animalote. All right, let's move on to the next one. I want to teach you this one. Ejón. E-J-O-N with an accent on the O. Ejón. I want to use the example of a bee. Abeja. Abeja. I could make this bigger by saying abejón. Abejón. Okay? The next one is acho or acha. Okay, I can take the word book. We've used book tons of times. Examples, libro. Now it's a libracho, just a big, heavy book. All right. Now I want to give you one more, and that is kind of combining ones that we've already talked about, and that is achón. A-C-H-O-N, accent on the O again, achón. You can use the word rica, and you can say ricachón, ricachón. And now you're really stressing the word rica, right? Okay, now I want to give you a final note about these. Again, I want to say, where you are depends on how it's used. And I want to show you an example. You know, a while ago we talked about the big, large, heavy book. Well, I'm going to show you 4 ways you can say that right now. It depends on what country you're in. That depends on how it's going to be used. First of all, you got this, libracho. Well, we talked about a while ago. You could also say librazo. You could also say librón, and you can say librote. All of those imply big, large, heavy book, okay? So it really depends on where you are. Learn the basics. Get the basics down. Have them in your head. And then wherever you go, pick up those dialectal differences, okay? All right, amigos. I've given you enough for this lesson. Work on those diminutives and augmentatives. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Language Tutor Spanish. Hasta pronto. Friends, thanks for watching the Language Tutor. If you have a question for me, feel free to leave it in the comment section below the video. And please click subscribe and the notification bell so that you'll never miss any of our language lessons.